All right, bro. Now we got the boy Young Don, the sauce guy, bro. Or I guess now he goes by Young Don Animations. But Young Don, the sauce guy, bro, this is his first time posting in like damn near 3-4 years, bro. I used to watch it, bro, since like well before he was at well before a million, bro. I was in middle school, I think.
I don't have that many regrets in my life, but if I could go back in time,
Oh, and the title is I got circumcised as an adult.
I could stop
How the
myself
fuck
from
does that
doing
work?
a few things. For sure, one of them would be cutting the tip of my dick off. Ah, yes. After being gone for about 3 years, I'm sure this was the kind of story you thought I'd
On me, bro. This is the
my
comeback
big
story.
comeback with. But yes, about 2 years ago, 2023, as a fully grown
This is
adult
the comeback
man
story,
with
really?
children, I decided to get circumcised. Now, why would a fully grown adult man with children decide to do something so insane? Was it a medical
know.
necessity? Nope. Ma Johnson was working just fine. Was it cosmetic? Was I just finally tired of being Team Turtleneck and wanted to permanently drop the top of my joint? In fact, I can now speak from experience. It's a downgrade. Personally,
Really?
I prefer the convertible model, which
Wait, so circumcision is ass? Somebody else? Shit, my mom's home. Circumcision is not the move.
makes sense. After all, we are all born with a hoodie for a reason. So why, Don? Why did you do this to yourself? For the same reason dudes have been doing crazy shit since the beginning of human civilization. In the name of God. Ah, yes. You see, I went on a spiritual...
It's not holy to be uncircumcised. I feel I didn't even have a choice, gang.
journey. I became very religious, very devoted, very zealous, as they say. I was willing to do anything and everything I thought I needed to do in order to please
I didn't even
God.
have a choice.
Now, I'm no longer a very religious person, to be honest.
You're not religious
I'm
no
not here
more?
to tell you what to do or what to believe, and I don't want to get into it, you know?
Isn't that the only
That's
point
a
he quit YouTube?
hornet's nest that I don't want to stick my dick inside. But I am
10 out of
gonna
10
tell
don't
you the story
recommend.
from my religious arc because it's fucking hilarious. And before we continue, I just want to shout out my second channel, YDR. I do funny daily reactions over
All right,
there.
bro,
It's
let's get into the
nothing
vid.
religious or political or serious. It's just straight entertainment. I also stream over there, occasionally playing video games and just chopping it up with the chat. So click the link in the pinned comment and go subscribe. Maybe we can hit 100K in 2025. So there are
Maybe.
different kinds of Christianity, right? You've heard about this: Catholic, Orthodox, Pentecostal,
Yup.
Church of Christ, Baptist, Methodist, Calvinist, Mormon, da 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 da.
Da,
Yeah, there are
da,
a bunch, right? Well, I experimented with a few because the Bible doesn't tell you which one is the right one. I mean, supposedly you can
Is there even
figure
a
it
right
out
one?
by reading the Bible and connecting the dots, but if it was truly that simple,
What's the
there
right one,
wouldn't be
Jew?
hundreds, if not thousands, of different kinds of Christians and churches and all that. So obviously, it's kind of hard for people to come to a consensus of what the Bible is actually saying. So I shopped around. I dibbled and dabbled, experimented with a few different kinds of churches, and tried my best to figure out which one is the most Jesus-y and Bible-y, I guess. Eventually, I found this one kind of church where their whole thing was living your
That's the
life
Star
just
David.
like Jesus. And you might
So he went Jew?
say, yeah, isn't that the goal for all Christians? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that all Christians say they want to be loving and forgiven and things like that, but Christians don't actually live the same lifestyle as Jesus, because Jesus was a Jew, and there's special rules that Jews follow, like they don't eat pork and they don't work on Saturdays, and there's a bunch
Really?
more, but those are the most inconvenient ones. Anyway, arguably, the most important rule of them all is that all the men have to be circumcised. Like, if you're not circumcised, you're cut. No smelly snorkel dicks in heaven. Holy
Snorkel dick.
clean master race Johnsons are allowed. I'm serious, this is in the Bible, aka no snorkel dicks. Now, truth be told, this shit got patched with the Jesus update.
That's a real thing, bro. That actually says that shit. No snorkel, no snorkel cock.
You know, when the Son of God DLC dropped, they completely changed everything. Now it doesn't matter.
DLC.
Being uncircumcised won't send you to hell to burn forever, which is pretty convenient for the mandem in the UK. Yeah, I've seen British porn. Y'all would have been cooked.
Yo,
But
what?
I didn't know the Bible that good yet, right? You don't have to like get a 4-year degree to
What's he
convert
talking
to
about?
Christianity, which probably you should. But right, but so the people at this Jewish church, they convinced me into thinking we're still under the old rules. And to be fair, they don't know any better, right? They believe this stuff. But you know, that's like the thing with Christianity. There's a lot of different opinions on what the truth is, but most people have good intentions. Nonetheless, they told me I had to get circumcised, right? Like they were like, okay, look, God might give you
How did they know if you weren't? They be checking your, you know?
a pass, but we don't know. I wouldn't risk it, to be honest. And so I was like, dang, well, I don't want to risk it.
He got
And
peer pressure
I
into
had
cutting
money.
it off.
Yeah, I was living in Houston at the time, and they had a clinic not too far from where I lived with pretty good reviews for adult circumcisions. So I was like, well, what am I gonna tell God if I died uncircumcised? And he asks me why I didn't do it. So I was like, fuck, okay, I guess I'll go do this.
Damn,
So I
bro,
call him up to make the appointment.
That's a life changing decision, bro.
And it was so casual. It was 2 weeks.
Cause like you used to living your life with, like, you know what I'm saying, one way for like 25 plus years, however old this bro is. And it just like, and he has kids, right?
Easy, bro. Like they should have a waiting period, you know, so that you could like think about it some more. But they were like, we can get you in on
How was
Thursday.
it even unholy?
I was like, nigga, it's Tuesday. That's so soon. But hey, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well just do it, right? What's the holdup? So I was like, all right, Thursday works for me. I had to pay a deposit of like $500 so that I wouldn't flake. You know, I imagine a lot of dudes would flake if it wasn't for that. The whole thing costs like $2,500.
What?
And you can't use insurance either. It has to be cash. But can you put a price on not burning in hell forever? Gotta do what you gotta do. So I made the appointment. Then I tell my wife, and she was not happy, right? In fact, she cried. She thought it was a terrible idea. She was completely against it and thought it was too quick of a decision. It was too extreme. Why can't I wait a few months?
I low-key
Maybe
agree.
I'll learn something new and realize I don't need to do it. And then I was like,
Which is what happened.
of course. This is the same thing Eve did to Adam. And look how that shit turned out, right? And if there is anything that the Bible is very clear about, is that you should never listen to a woman, especially when she's trying to tell you to do the opposite of what God said.
Never listen
now,
to a woman.
It turns out
I
God
bet.
would change his mind on this with the Jesus patch, but I didn't understand that at the time. The Bible is a very thick book and it's very confusing, and even the Bible admits to it being confusing, so that's not me taking a shot or anything. So with my mind made up and not allowing my evil Jezebel wife to deceive me into thinking that I was making a rash decision, and that if God is, you know, like a loving and patient God, he wouldn't mind me taking more time to work through this stuff before making such an expensive and permanent decision, because as every Christian knows, thinking through things
Gang, there's no going back. There's no going back.
is exactly what Satan wants you to do. That's called leaning on your own understanding. So I committed to going through with it anyway. Well, Thursday came around, and reluctantly she starts to support me. And she's always done that, right? Sometimes she doesn't agree with my decisions. Sometimes she even puts up a fight. But eventually, she has always supported me at the end, even when I was wrong or was making a decision that wasn't in our best interest. And for that, I will never deserve this woman. So I went to the place, right? They had me put some numbing cream on my snickerdoodle, and once I was fully numb, they injected it with local anesthesia.
I could never.
I didn't feel it all.
I could never
shot
do
off
it.
one last prayer, and then Doc got to work. It didn't take long, about 45 minutes for the whole procedure.
45
and
minutes?
I didn't feel a thing. They wrapped it up in gauze. The doctor wrote me a prescription for pain meds and then sent me on my way. I was shocked how good I felt. For one, the doctor said the surgery went perfect, And here I am 2 years later and can confidently say that it did in fact go very well based on the results. I also felt like I pleased God. You know, no more snorkel dick, which at the time I thought was really bothering him. But lastly, I felt no pain. Even 15 minutes after the operation was over and I was walking out to my car, it just felt numb. Still, I stopped at the pharmacy and picked up the pain meds. He prescribed me a bottle of Oxys, which, you know, that's the good shit, right? Those are the kinds of pills that start rap careers,
Oh, shit.
if you know what I'm saying. They're also the kinds of pills that end rap careers,
Yep.
if you know what I'm
Yep.
saying. So I
Why
get
do you
home,
play
still
Juice
no
WRLD?
pain, and I think to myself, you know what? I don't need these pills. I have Jesus. If God wanted me to get circumcised, he's also going to give me the strength to get through whatever pain the circumcision is going to cause.
Hell no.
I don't need the devil's medicine. And
Hell
so
no.
I flush him down the toilet. Well, turns out that was a mistake. So the day continued, and with time it started to ache a little bit. But on a scale of 1 to 10, at worst it was like a 3. Fast forward to bedtime, and my wife and I go to sleep. And I don't know how long I was asleep for, but at some point in the middle of the night, I am awoken with the fire of 1,000 suns on my Johnson. The closest thing I can compare it to is like, you know, like, all right, imagine you have a boner. Now imagine a pit bull trying to bite it off, bro. That's probably what
Yeah,
it's
I'm good,
like.
bro.
It was like the worst blowjob ever, times 1,000. I couldn't help it. I yelled out, Lord, Jesus, please help me.
Yeah, that shit
Of
ain't
course,
working.
that didn't do shit. And it wakes up my wife. And she's like, oh my God, what's happening? Are you okay? I'm like, no, my dick's gonna explode. And I honestly thought that might happen. Like, what if the stitches were too tight, right? I didn't tell the doctor that I was a grower and not a shower. What if he didn't put enough slack in it? But fortunately, it didn't explode, right? My wife got me an ice
so you
pack,
got hit with the morning
and
wood and that
did
shit hurt.
calm things down. Once it was thoroughly chilled and back to its original state, I was able to fall asleep again, only for that shit to happen all over
Oh,
again,
shit.
several times, every night, for like a week straight. It was torture of the sorts I had never experienced before. By the third day, I called the doctor's office and tried to explain to them how I threw away the pain pills because I thought I didn't need them. And so I was wondering if I could get another prescription. But they didn't believe me. They must have thought I sold them or was an addict or whatever. And so they didn't write another prescription. And so I had to thug it out on just Tylenol, my G. Just over-the-counter pain meds, which did nothing. But I got through it. Yeah, it was hard. No pun intended. But I got through it. And after a couple of months, it was fully healed and ready to go. And since then, I've had one more kid, a son. So that's 2 girls, 1 boy, all under 3. Just so you're all caught up. No complaints.
They're
from
all
the wife.
under 3?
And so, you know, all's well that ends well, right? Is what they say. And that's the story of how I got
You've 3 kids, all under 3 years of age. Y'all producing like a rabbit, gang.
If you couldn't tell, I had have a cold, man. I don't know, it might be COVID. I don't. Yeah. And that's the story of how I got circumcised as an adult. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my second channel, YDR.
I'll get there. Alright, and